For the fans.
For the players.
For all the news. Firebirds Weekly. This week's guest is Donovan Ollie.
Henry Nell Kicking. Professional training with a personal touch. While it is important to start young, attention to details and creating good habits is just as important. You will get the results you are looking for, using tried and true practices proven at the professional level. When you're ready to up your kicking game, enroll in Henry Nell Kicking Training. You will be glad that you did.
Welcome to Firebirds Weekly, Season 2, Episode 8. My name is Adam Samrov, and I am here with my co-host, to my left, Chris Sipperly. We are live here at JC Tractor in Hoosick Falls, New York, and we are presented by Dude Wipes and Henry Nell Kicking. Henry signing another contract to come back to the Firebirds in 2026. Very excited about that. And tonight we have a top Division I receiver, a guy who's gotten it done at every place he's been. And hopefully that's going to hold true here in 2026 with the Albany Firebirds. Tonight's our guest is Donovan Ollie. Donovan, how are we doing tonight in the DFW, my friend?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. Appreciate y'all for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. And again, thank you for the time. We're looking forward to kind of getting to know you a little bit. So we'll get it kicked off here.
Yeah, sounds good.
So coming up in growing up in Texas, going to Wiley High School. That's one of those 6A schools, those big schools. Just talk about your journey. Getting into football in the first place. Was it something you did all the way? When you were a kid growing up.
Oh yeah.
And talk about some of your big influences as you were growing up in the game.
Yeah. Definitely. Being from Texas, we all play. From as soon as you're old enough to put some cleats on in a jersey, hey, you out there on that field. So, I've been playing for a long, long time, I feel like now. But, growing up here, it was cool playing ball. I don't really know where I could say where I started at because it feels like for as long as I can remember, I've been putting on helmets, running up and down in the backyard, in the house somewhere. Yeah. Putting on a helmet, trying to tackle whoever I can see. I remember shooting. If I call my mom right now, she'll know. She's a victim. I caught her walking in the house a couple times when I was a kid. So
she's definitely. I don't want to assume anything, but she certainly seems like pretty close to a number one fan. She commented on one of the posts, I think today on Instagram, and she said she's watching. That's awesome stuff. I always love seeing that stuff because
she probably listening to it right now in a Bible study meeting or something right now. So, she's definitely my number one fan.
Who's been some of your influences? I mean, parents, coaches, things like that. Who are some of your influences growing up?
Well, really for me personally, I would say my first influence, my older cousin. He lived with us at the moment when we was younger. So I would say he's like my oldest brother. He was, man, at that point, he was the best player I had ever seen in my life. It seemed like when he was in middle school, in high school, Pee-wee, he's like nobody could touch him. And he was just, everybody wanted him on his team. So, I mean, as a kid, you want to be like that, seeing that every day. We going to his games every weekend. So it's like, man, I wanted that feeling too. So definitely that. But from a receiver standpoint, now being more mature, I would say somebody's game that I watched a lot that really made me want to be the receiver I am. I gotta go Dez Bryant. Being a Cowboys, gotta go Dez Bryant. So watching him, the way he just can dominate and take over the game, I want it to be just like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I definitely will agree with you on the Dez Bryant thing. He caught it, by the way. Don't anybody tell you otherwise. He definitely caught it.
And I think I was in 11th or 10th or 11th grade. I did a whole entire school report presentation that Dez caught that ball. So if anybody has anything to say about it, you can say it to me, and I have all the facts for you.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, even as a fan of football, I mean, it's still on a week to week basis, what is a catch is nearly impossible to understand, and you know, it's it is what it is. I guess you just got to do everything you can to possibly catch it and leave no question.
Leave
You
no
know what I
doubt.
mean?
Yeah, leave no doubt.
So growing up, like I said, played for 3 years, at Wiley High, and when did you kind of realize, like, you know, I, I can turn this into a career. I
Yeah,
can, go, to the biggest heights and go to college and, maybe for
yeah.
free, and then that kind of stuff. When did you kind of start to realize that, when you were, in school?
Yeah, well, honestly, first I want to be a basketball player.
Mhm.
You know, it seemed like, I don't know what it is, but something about basketball, it just make it more personal. Like, if you in football, I can score 3 touchdowns on a guy. He see me in the street, he might not recognize my face.
Yeah.
But if I give you 30 points on the basketball court, you will remember my face for the rest of your life. You will never forget that. So that just gave me that little itch. That's why I love playing basketball. But I would say my sophomore year, they put me on varsity, and honestly, I was like, man, however this year goes, it goes. I'm gonna go play basketball anyway, so I'm not even thinking about it. And then come week one, we had some injuries. Some of my guys got hurt. They threw me in there, and I had 2 touchdowns, 100-something yards. So everybody telling me like, "Hey, you can actually play. Like you can do this." So from that moment, I started to take it serious, and it got me here.
As a high school coach, those are the kind of kids that you're just like, oh, you should have, done this before. We had a kid this
Right,
year.
right,
We had a kid this year who played soccer and plays baseball, and he decided to come out and play football instead this year. And he was one of our better receivers and everything. I'm like, you should have come out 2 years
right.
ago,
Way
my guy.
before this. Yeah, yeah.
um,
That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like you have such a short period of time of your life to be able to play something,
Right,
and like obviously the player kid or has to want to do it, but boy oh boy, if you don't take advantage of the time that you have when you're young, you're never going to get it back. As a
right, right.
42-year-old
Exactly.
guy, I could tell you that I'm many years removed from playing. So
a 44-year-old guy.
yeah, so definitely make the most of the opportunity. And honestly, I mean, this kind of segues a little bit into probably the next portion of your life. Going through high school, what was the process for you to ultimately decide on the school that you went to right out of high school? Like, how did it all kind of
And
come
that
together?
recruiting process. I mean, again, football down there is a religion,
Right,
compared to anything up here. What was that like? On a daily basis of just fielding calls and
man.
all that.
Well, I mean, I didn't really start picking up getting offers till around my junior year. But around that time, it was kind of crazy. Like you have coaches come grab you out of class, or you have to
Hmm.
tell the teacher like, "Hey, I'm gonna take this call in a couple minutes. So if I leave, that's why." Stuff like that. But I mean, it was cool, a little stressful, but yeah, it was cool. I can't really complain. But what it really boiled down to, I think, so I committed to Washington State out of high school. What made me choose that, really, Mike Leach was there, so
Hmm.
playing
Yeah,
playing for a coach like that.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
Exactly,
legend.
exactly.
Yeah.
And him being a Texas guy himself, and
Hmm.
we had my receiver coach was Steve Spurrier Jr. and Dave Nichols. So
Hmm.
Coach Nichols from around the way. He grew up probably 20 minutes from here. So it just felt very family oriented. Felt like somewhere where I could fit in at, and it felt like home.
How many offers did you end up getting before you picked to go to Washington State?
Man, I think dang, you made me feel old. Now I'm thinking a long time ago. Uh,
I mean,
I
it's got to
think
be in the dozens somewhere, I imagine.
it was around either 17 or 20. I picked up a couple late after I had committed, but somewhere around there.
And was it a kind of thing where you were like, your goal was to be in one of those Power Five type Power Five conference, like I want to be at the top level,
Yeah,
wherever that is. How did you end up picking Washington State, other than Leach? I mean, what was it
yeah,
about the school and stuff like? I mean, obviously having a great coach and
yeah.
you know,
Um,
football side, but obviously you got to go and you're trying to get an education as well. So
right. Well, to add on to that, really like the area, if you don't know, Pullman's a small town, middle of nowhere. So, at first it's kind of shocking at first, it's a culture shock, but at the same time, it allows you really to get close to your teammates and focus in on what you're there for and what you're there to do. And once you accomplish it, it just makes it even more fun that you've done something, you and your teammates have accomplished something and y'all are so close together. You know what I'm saying? It just, I don't know.
That's kind of interesting too, because again, not to skip too far.
Hey, hold on, can I ask you to just slide over to the left a little bit? You keep going in it. You keep going out of frame. You're good. I just need you to stay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Don't move there. Perfect. Yeah, I just want you in the frame, man. You're good. You're good.
So, in effort to not skip forward, but I want to at least make this point. I think you're going to see something very similar to that in Albany this year, with the way that things are run here. So, anyway, continue on the journey.
And then you go to Washington State, and then the pandemic hits, and that first year was thrown into whack anyway by the pandemic. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, obviously that is something that has affected a lot of the guys we've talked to over the last year and a half. How again, culture shock going to a small place from a big big city like Plano and the Dallas area.
Yeah.
How was that trying to maneuver through the pandemic academically, football wise? Tell me about that process for you.
Well, for ours being in Washington was probably one of the worst places at the times during.
Right, they were starting it. It was one of the starts. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with that going on, we really weren't allowed to do much anything. I think that year we only played like 4 games. We got called off the field for one of them, called off the bus for another one. I think we were pulling up at the airport to play. I don't even remember. I think it was Stanford. We were pulling up to the airport. We had to turn around and go back. So we didn't have a spring ball that year. We probably had like 2 weeks worth of fall camp. So it was tough just going from playing to not playing, practicing to not practicing, working out, not working out, being at home. But I would say at the same time, it helped me personally a lot because it helped me grow better as a player. I got more mature in my game. So I would say it's kind of bittersweet at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny how life and time will make you grow up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it kind of like really, I mean, like Adam said, we've asked a bunch of guys this because a bulk of the guys that coming in here did have a similar experience to that. And a lot of the guys are like, yeah, it kind of allowed me to kind of, I mean, you always love the game, but I think it certainly, for a lot of guys, it helped them appreciate the game and really kind of put in perspective how much that means to them and have it taken away, for in some cases, almost 2 years,
Yeah.
And then in 21, you play 13 games. You kind of become that one of the main receivers. Just talk about kind of refocusing in that 21 season. Like, okay, we're having a regular season again. It's kind of normal. And then just your process, going through that first year after the pandemic.
Yeah, I really feel like that was just the year that it all clicked for me. You know what I mean? Like we came back after COVID. In that COVID year, I felt like I really should have, even just in those small 4 games, I really felt like I should have seen the field more. Like where you really feel like you should have been out there. You really want to be out there so bad. You watching your brothers go to battle. You in there. You making small little plays, but you can be more. You want that bigger role. So coming out of that into that 2021 season, I really just feel like it all clicked. Like I found out how to get in extra work. I really looked at how to study film, how to get better in my releases, at the top of my route, everything like that. So I feel like that year was really I was just ready to step into that role and show what I could do.
Sure. I mean, opportunity is everything. Opportunity is earned, and being able to do those small things. I think that gets lost a lot. Again, I haven't been at the the level of athlete that obviously you have achieved, but I think a lot of times people kind of underestimate the need and the necessity to do the extra things, because the extra things in reality are just enough a lot of times.
Right.
And then I got a question as well, just kind of going through like your college and stuff like that.
Mm.
Washington State has, maybe it's not Auburn, Alabama, but you guys have the Apple Cup where you guys
Yeah.
play Washington. I think in your
That's a good
second
one.
in your 22 year, I think you guys faced off against Michael Penix that
Yeah.
year. But just talk about that rivalry game. I mean, again, it's all different everywhere, but
Yeah.
tell me about that experience playing
Man,
against
that was
your University of
probably
Washington.
that's probably one of the biggest, like, that's probably the most important game I feel like I ever played in, just because of what was at stake and how important it was, how much it meant to the school, to the fans, to alumni, everybody, teammates. And oh yeah, no, that week's crazy. That whole week, there's no purple at all on campus. Like, if you got a purple chair, it's getting thrown out the window. Purple shirt is getting thrown in the trash. It's all types of stuff. Like, there's no purple at all. There's no grape jelly in any cafeteria.
No grape,
So
no grape jelly on your
no
toast.
grape, just
Nope.
straight strawberry. That's all you get, strawberry. If you don't want that, hey, sorry for you.
That's great. And the thing is, it's funny because on the national stage, it's like Michigan, Ohio State. Get the big
Yeah,
thing, right? The Ohio State guys don't use M's, and
yeah,
stuff like that. And then
yeah,
it's like you don't have purple for
yeah,
that. And I think it almost gets lost in the nationals thing because you guys are on the West Coast, and
yeah.
so it kind of
Definitely.
gets so it
It's
gets
always a
lost.
late game too. Pac-12 after dark. It was always a late game when we played. So yeah. It was definitely getting not as much notability as it should.
Exactly. And so a couple of years there, and then and you move on again. Tell me about the transfer portal. I mean, we all hear about it. Right now it's kind of the Wild West, really, in terms of NIL and all that stuff. And it's great that guys are getting paid like they should be.
Yeah.
But just talk about the transfer process and how that worked for you, and how you ended up moving on to Colorado.
Yeah. Well, really, I went to Cincinnati
Or I'm
originally.
sorry, Cincinnati first. I'm sorry, yeah,
No,
Cincinnati.
that's all good. Yeah, but yeah, it was kind of weird. Obviously you get in there expecting so many things, like, but just like anything else in life, it never goes as planned. It's never gonna go how you think it's gonna go. But it was cool. I talked to a couple schools, but it came down to Cincinnati. I felt like they had a good system, and I felt like I would have made a great fit for it. And the OC that we had, he ended up getting a job before the season, with the Colts, I believe, I think. But so he ended up leaving. So that's kind of why it didn't work out. But that I chose them, mainly just because I felt like it was a great system. It would give me a chance to really show what I can do and be that guy for them. And honestly, I feel like the same thing about Colorado State. When I chose to go there, I just felt like that would be a place where I could really excel and I can help them win. I can help them score points and win games, and then ultimately put myself in a position to play at the next level. But ran to some unfortunate events, but it's all good.
But and then so you're like somebody too that's been three different places. You were in the Pac-12, then you were in the Big 12,
Yeah,
and then was it Mountain West for Colorado? Well,
yeah,
maybe it
Yeah, I think
used to
so.
be.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so.
So much changing around now. Who even knows? But
Right.
tell me about like just that kind of moving around, and like obviously you're going to find good football players in every corner of it. But what was it like just kind of playing in those different places and then those different conferences when you're
Yeah,
facing the Iowas and the
right.
Arizona State, Oregon, Cal. Obviously, Oregon's been very
Mm.
good for a long time.
Yeah, well, obviously as a competitor, you love stuff like that, just being able to go play everybody and teams from different conferences and people from different places, different backgrounds. So, as a competitor, it feels good. You get out there, blood start boiling, and you just ready to go. But it was also cool just being at those different places and meeting those different people, making the connections that I made. People from all over the place. Never in my life would I thought I'll share a locker with somebody who's from Maryland
Sure.
or something like that. So
Hmm.
it was pretty cool being in those different places and meeting those people and having those experiences with them. Honestly, that's something that you'll never forget as well. Not just the football games, but just those times in the locker room, on the plane, on the bus. You know what I mean? Just hanging out with those different guys that if I wasn't here, I never would have ran into you. So it's just that's something I take from it.
Let me ask you about one of the experiences I believe that you had in doing homework. Tell me about the Snoop Dogg Bowl in Arizona.
Man, you want to know what's crazy? We walked in the locker room pregame. Snoop Dogg was in there.
Oh, way, that's cool.
We walk in, and I'm looking. You looking for your locker. It's a bowl game, so we're in a different team's locker room. I'm looking for my locker, and I see my name, and I just see a big crowd of people by my locker. I'm like, come on, like and me before the games, I'm not really a talker. Like I got my headphones on. I don't really say too much. I get to business. So I'm looking like, man, what's all these people doing in my locker? And I see this big old like size 15 Chuck Taylor sitting in my locker, and I'm like, who is this? They move. I'm like, oh, it's Snoop sitting in my locker. That's crazy. But yeah, that was cool. It was fun out in Arizona. We really should have got that win, but it was a good game though. I had a good time.
Do you see with the Olympics coming up here in a few weeks? Snoop is going to be one of the. I think he's going to be one of like the ambassadors for the TV coverage, and I think that's amazing.
Oh yeah, he's gonna tear it up.
He's been calling, I think, some NBA games. I want to say
something like that
with Steve Kerr with the Warriors. He called the Warriors.
Yeah, that was funny as hell.
Yeah,
I saw that.
So if you want anybody in your locker, that's the guy to have in the locker.
Oh yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about too, because you graduate, and you went to school for broadcast journalism, and as a journalist myself for a long time, I appreciate anybody that talk about going into that field, and obviously this ride hasn't ended yet, but talk about what your plans are in terms of using that later in the future.
Since I was like in high school and stuff, I always would say, after I'm done playing, it would be cool to like be on, like how Shaq and Kenny used to be on like TNT and stuff like that. I always just thought that would be cool. Like how Tom Brady calls games now that he's retired.
Yep.
I just figured, it's another way just to stay around the game and not, coaching like probably like the easiest route, just something different. I was just wanting to do. I still kind of want to do it, but I don't know. I wouldn't say camera shy, but I don't know. I feel like I get excited on camera, so
it comes with time. Right. Like anything else, is like experience. Like the first time you put on cleats and you try to catch a football in a game, how nervous were you there? Like I look back at that stuff all the time. I try to keep that stuff in perspective because everybody's new at some point, no matter what they're doing.
Right.
So now you went through the whole college process. Your next stop was with the Lightning, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, hold on a second. Let's obviously. Did you end up going through a pro day?
Yeah, I did.
Talk about that process. We've had a couple of guys on, that talked about the pro day process. Yeah. Talk about it for you and how it went and some of the contacts you made and how you got on in terms of trying to show your skills.
Yeah, well, me, I ended up getting hurt on pro day. I made it all the way to. I did all the the measurements and the bench rep, the bench test. So we did all that. I'm feeling good, and then I think, if I'm being honest, it's probably the first time I said it out loud. But if I'm being honest, I was probably just too excited, and I ended up stretching a little bit too much. And then on my broad jump, for some reason, I don't know, it must have just been the way I landed. I felt my hamstring kind of pull a little bit.
Mm.
And then on my 40, I'm trying as hard as I could, but with a pull hamstring,
it just doesn't feel right. Fast. Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Yep.
Right. So at that point, I was just like, it's probably better for me not to try to run routes and look even worse. So I ended up coming back home, getting a little rehab. I went back up later on. One of my teammates, Torrey Horton, was having his pro day, and they how to have just extra people there. So I was able to run routes there. So it was cool. Talked to a couple teams. Who was it? I remember I talked to the Saints, Broncos, Packers, just a couple teams. And yeah.
But again, like you said, even though you got injured, and obviously that's not something you can control per se.
Right.
You still were able to make some of those connections. So so those are those kind of things that's like, you never know when that's going to come back around. The football world isn't as big as everybody thinks it is.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I couldn't really be too upset about it. I still got that chance, so it is what it is.
Talk about transitioning from the outdoor game to the indoor game. To go back to what you said about playing for the Lightning.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing about transitioning to the indoor game? Less guys, less space. What was it for you?
Not even that. I ain't gonna lie. Everything was fun. I was having a blast out there until that first time I hit that wall. Man, yeah. After that's what woke me up. I'll probably say that's probably the most hardest thing to adjust to. Just the smaller field and knowing, being an outdoor, especially me being an outside receiver, most of the time I can get caught out there on the island with a DB and I have all this space. But in arena, it's kind of different. So that's probably the biggest adjustment for me.
So that was year one last year for you in the arena game. So
yeah,
kind of handicap your rookie season. How do you feel that went for you? Like how do you look back on that?
Honestly, going into it, I was pretty nervous because I didn't know what I was doing. You never. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you never picture yourself playing there. You always picture yourself NFL. So I never really knew nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But after it brought me many more opportunities. Like right now with Albany and the Firebirds and you guys. So it brought me so many opportunities and more connections. I had a great time and I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't if I didn't do it. I don't know. I'll probably be working at Walmart or something.
Well, so let me ask you. I guess a follow-up question to that is, what ultimately brought you to Albany? How did that happen?
It just in those last 4 weeks that I was in Oregon, that's all you heard about. My first game that we played was against Nashville, so everybody was like, "Hey, this is the spot, Nashville or Albany." So after that, I started doing my own little research. I'm like, oh, like they've been winning, like they're really the team to play for in this league. So after that, that's really what drew my attention. And then later on, Coach Ware hit me up. And he said, that he would like for me to come out there and show what I can do. So, I can't turn that down, especially from a coach like that who's won as many games he's won as he has. You can't turn down an opportunity like that.
So what are you most looking forward to when you arrive in Albany?
Man, really just being there. First of all, I've never been. I know it's not New York City, but it's still New York to me. I'm a Texas guy. So being in New York, that would be a bucket list check off for me. But really just meeting new guys and going to war with new people, tying them in, sharing that field with other people, with new guys that I'm luckily meeting. And man, I'm just trying to tear it up, man. I was trying to sugarcoat it, but man, I'm trying to go crazy. That's it. I'm trying to tear it up this coming season. Oh, did it freeze? Oh, I froze. Oh. Hold on. If y'all can hear me, I can't hear y'all. Hold on. Oh, what happened?
Hey, looks like we lost the internet here, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. We thank Donovan for coming on, and we'll have to get back together soon. Sorry about that, guys.
The cool part of our game just being a super high-paced, fast game, every game is a little bit different, but there usually comes down to a series of plays that really can ultimately dictate a win or a loss. In this series, you talk about some of these minute plays that may seem very simple, but are way more complex. We're going to talk about a couple of critical plays, talk about just the thoughts that go into these plays, and ultimately how those plays helped us win the football game. So played a pretty good first half. The art of winning the games really comes down to halftime adjustments. When you're in a championship game, you can't expect to win big all the time. So there's just the series of moments of correcting problems that helps you win the game.
Yeah, we just made too many mistakes in the first half. We have this second half, made some changes. Let's see what happens. We're excited about the second half.
Coach Arbet did a great job of coming out. Well, the problem that we had in the second half was we discussed this in the game leading up to it. We had a young man, Armani Carey, who was playing their nose guard, a kid, Roger Perry, that was playing one of their defensive ends, and then Jaquan Artis, who was a very capable pass rusher. And in the course of us getting ready for the game, they have a real lively, defensive front. The one thing that I kept coming back to was number 92, who is Roger Perry II. He spent a little bit of time in the NFL. He has an NFL get off. For him, I wasn't as worried with him playing defensive end, but I was more worried of him playing from the nose guard spot. Well, not that they had utilized him at nose, but he was definitely somebody that we talked about, that if they started to rotate their line, that he could create some mismatch problems for us. And so lo and behold, we come out in the second half and they move 92 to nose, and he could, create some mismatch problems for us. And you've got a all AF1 center, but Roderick has given him a whole bunch of problems. And so we were getting pressured. Number 92 is really giving us some problems. And so he had talked about this all week, and all of a sudden here we are faced with this problem, and it's a bigger problem than we had anticipated. He starts getting a great deal of push. He gets off the ball, extremely fast. He's extremely powerful. Sam is getting pressured. We start not moving the ball for a short period of time. We found ourselves in a real big piece of adversity where we really are not moving the ball. A safety in that particular period was a bunch of pressure that he was taking, and it was all because of this move that they made at halftime. As a coaching staff, it's me talking to the offensive line. Is it something that we're going to need to slide protect? Are we going to have to take our running back and try to put him against one of these defensive ends, be able to protect our quarterback from the nose and the MAC? Can we keep base blocking these guys? Can we get there? Or am I going to have to pull Colby from the game? Now, here's a kid that's played phenomenal for us, but there's just times where these are the kind of decisions that you've got to make in the spur of the moment. We're going to have to do one of two things. We're going to start slide protecting so we can keep 92 from getting pressure on us, or I'm going to have to remove Colby from the game and put Sean in there. Colby's a little bit beat up. It's a long season. His body's taken plenty of abuse. He's a little bit of smaller center, so he takes a little bit more of the abuse, obviously, from some of these bigger guys. If we don't get a first down, I think this is kind of our third possession where we hadn't scored. If we don't score and go for it on fourth down, they probably score and go up for the first time. Not to say that we couldn't come and win the game, come down, score last, and win the game, but it's much better playing from in front at these moments. He's looking at me nod like, Coach, I'll get it done. I look at Colby and I'm just like, if we don't move the ball here again, I'm going to make some changes. We come out, we get some pressure, first, second, and third down. So it's a 4th and 15 play. Really, we're reeling for yards at this point. 92 gets off the ball really well. Sam gets pressured. Sam wants to roll out, presses the pocket. We run a little combination that gets Isaiah Scott just beyond the sticks. Sam steps up in the pocket, throws the ball on fourth down. Isaiah makes this catch and gets the first. When I look back on the championship game, is the turning point of the second half for us to win the game is this particular play.